Namaskar, hello and welcome to CIET NCERT's special live webinar series of cyber safety and security. My name is Tanvi Khurana, and because it's a Friday, we are here under the theme Mental and Emotional Well-Being in the Era of Cyberspace. If you remember, we started this theme in the beginning of this month, which was 6th of April, and we celebrated Cyber Jagrukta Divas that day. We continued that same theme on 8th of April, which was a Friday, and then again on next Friday, which was on 15th of April, and today is the last day of the continuation of this theme. And at the end of this session, we'll be giving you the quiz, and that link and that process I'll be explaining towards the end of this program. But before, we have an entire program for all of you, and in this program, we are going to discuss the topic mental health and cyber tools. And if you're watching us on PM eVidya channel number 6 to channel number 12 and you have any questions regarding it, then please call us on our number 8800440559. If you have any questions regarding this series of ours, which is cyber safety and security, you can freely contact us through our email ID, which is cybersafety@ciet.nic.in. All your questions will be taken up, all your doubts will be resolved. We have an expert with us, and she is Dr. Smita N. Deshpande. Hello and welcome, ma'am. Namaskar.
Namaskar.
Ma'am is a professor of psychiatry from St. John's National Academy of Health Sciences, Bangalore. Not just that, she became the first Indian researcher to initiate research in schizophrenia genetics in India in 1992. Since then, she has conducted more than 36 research projects in schizophrenia genetics, clinical trials, psychosocial aspects, disability, and rehabilitation in schizophrenia. Not just this, she is also one of the leading researchers in autism in India, and she is also involved in field testing new tools for dyslexia assessment. Congratulations on this achievement, ma'am. We are very proud of you. And we're going to discuss this topic with her, like I said, and there's one more medium through which you can connect with us. You can send your questions, which is our YouTube channel, ncertofficial. In the live chat box, you can write down your questions related to this topic and reach out to us. So let's begin this conversation, and I would like to ask ma'am, mental health and cyber tools. How are these two related, and what are we going to understand in this program regarding the topic?
So we are entering into the age of cyberspace, and a large number of us are online all the time, and this is especially so after the pandemic began. But is it affecting our mental health? And in fact, what is mental health? Many people do not know. So I want to look at the connection between mental health and these various tools, the social media, the gaming, the apps and other things that we are becoming so familiar with. Does it or does it not affect our mental health? Does it affect the mental health of only a group of people or everyone concerned? So that is what I wanted to talk to you about today. First of all, I'd like to begin by thanking the CIET training team who has been most helpful to me, and also to Dr. Angel Ratnabai, who thought of this topic and invited me to speak. So as one thinker said, these days we have smartphones, smart cars, smart boards, smart everything. But if the technology is getting smarter, does that mean humans are getting smarter or dumber? Even worse, are people getting addicted to this smart technology, thereby harming their mental health and well-being, and thereby harming their thinking processes? In fact, let's go back a bit and find out how many young Indian people, Indian adolescents, are using their smartphones excessively. In other words, they are becoming more and more dependent on their phones. Well, at least one group of authors who estimated the magnitude of smartphone addiction in Indian adolescents way back in 2014 say that 39 to 44%, that means almost half of the Indian youth who can access their phones are addicted to them. That is a huge, huge number, and this was well before the pandemic. So you can imagine what things must be like after the pandemic, when we were not able to get out of the house, we could not move, we could not meet other people. So today I will talk about three main things. One is what is good mental health. The second thing is how is cyber addiction affecting our mental health, and how to address this addiction, what to do about it, and how to harness the internet for good rather than harm. The harm is the addiction. So we should all know, just as our Indian Shastras had said, that the body, mind and spirit are intimately correlated. The body is not separate from the mind, and the spirit is in the background lifting us all up. But all three of these aspects should achieve a balance for a proper, normal, mentally healthy life. So then some people will ask, why is it necessary to have mental health? What is mental health? So let's look at why it is necessary to be mentally healthy. Because my previous speakers in this series told you a number of things which happen if you access internet excessively, and that spoils your mental health. But is mental health necessary at all? Well, mental health is not only essential for the well-being and functioning of individuals, that is you and me, but also of families, of communities and the entire nation. Because mental health contributes positively to social functioning, and if society functions properly, then there is overall productivity and prosperity of the entire nation. Our own individual quality of life improves because we are in a better place, a safer place and a more friendly place. But at the same time, on the reverse direction, by the actions or reactions of our society, our own mental health can be increased or diminished. A very important portion of mental health, good mental health, is the capacity for mutually satisfying and enduring relationships. And by these, I mean not only virtual relationships, but real relationships. In fact, real relationships, physical relationships are far more important than virtual relationships. Because of the cohesion that these social relationships, enduring social relationships bring up, the social cohesion increases, and that is critical for a community's economic prosperity. And I am talking about only economic prosperity, but it is important for the nation's health as a whole. So what is mental health? Health is, as we all know, everybody knows the definition of health. Health is a state of complete physical, mental and social well-being, and not merely the absence of a disease or infirmity. So you will see here that mental takes a very prominent role here in this definition. At the same time, WHO says that mental health is a state of well-being. It is not just the absence of disease. It is a state of well-being in which the individual, that is me, you, he, she, everybody, they realize their own ability, what I can do, what I am capable of. We can cope with the normal stresses of life. We can work productively and fruitfully. We can give something back to society as society gives to us, and we are able to make a contribution to his or her community. And that is a very important thing, because community nurtures us. So we have to nurture the community back. Let's talk here about Rajat. We'll just take a pause and consider Rajat. Rajat is always putting himself down. He is always pulling himself down. He says, I am nothing, I can't do anything, I am really not able to do this or that. He remains isolated. He doesn't have many friends. He sits alone in class. Why? Because he feels he is no good at anything. Would you say that Rajat is mentally healthy? He doesn't have a disease, but he is distressed. Why is he distressed? He is uncomfortable. He is lonely. Why? Does Rajat have low self-esteem? He pulls himself down too much. He thinks too low of himself. That is very likely to happen. Now, mental health does not occur in isolation. Mental, physical, and social health are all interdependent. As I said before, mental health really implies fitness. That means we are at a higher plane rather than just freedom from illness. At the same time, mental health is affected by a number of factors, individual factors and experiences. By factors, I mean biological factors like genetics, like the whatever intelligence we were born with, whatever health we were born with, by our own experiences, by our interaction with other people in society, by what type of social structures are we being born to, what type of political regime are we being nurtured in, our own cultural values, and even our experiences in everyday life as part of a family, as part of a school, even on the streets, even at work. All these factors affect our mental health either in a temporary way or in a permanent way. At the same time, emotional health, being emotionally healthy, is also a part of being mentally healthy. Positive feelings such as feelings of happiness, self-esteem, a feeling that we have mastery over the environment, that we are not victims, but we are masters. We can change our environment, we can change the way society behaves, how people look at us, and resilience. Resilience is the ability to cope with adversity. Even if there are problems, even if there are issues, even if there are things which affect us badly, we will still be able to cope with them and come out on the other side. Emotional health is also determined by what is known as autonomy. Autonomy means the way to think and decide independently, ability to identify, confront, and solve our problems. And finally, at a higher level is self-realization, that we recognize our own potential and then we work towards achieving our potential, and society gives us opportunity to exploit our own potential. All these positive emotions and these positive achievements lead to a subjective sense of well-being. They make us feel good about ourselves and our life. So emotional health is a part of mental health, but physical health is also a part of mental health. What does that mean? Emotional factors like optimism, a sense of personal control, a sense of meaning of life, they help to protect our mental and physical health. On the other hand, good physical health also influences the occurrence and outcome of mental and physical illnesses. If we are originally healthy, then even if we fall ill, we'll recover more quickly, we'll have a less severe illness, we will be able to get back out of the illness faster. So, while good psychological factors help us to maintain our health, good physical health helps us to spring back from adversity more easily. Poor general health is 3 times commoner amongst people with significant emotional distress. So as we saw Rajat, maybe Rajat over a period of time, over his life, if he remains diffident, then he is likely to have significant emotional distress as he grows up. What are some very easy, simple ways to combat these problems, health issues? What are the behaviors that lead to increased risk for health problems? They include sedentary habits. So mind you, if you are sitting at the phone all day or you are bending down like this looking at the screen all day, that's sedentariness. Of course, habits like excessive drinking and smoking, everybody knows that they are very bad for health and we should never start. And eating a poor diet. So if you are sitting at the net all the day, you will forget to eat. Whatever you eat will probably be very hurriedly done and maybe even junk food. So 2 main issues lead to bad physical and mental health if you are stuck to the internet all day. Now, as I said, emotional health and physical health are part of mental health. So is social health. What is social health? The ability, the capacity for mutually satisfying and enduring social relationships. You have friends, you have parents, you have relatives, you have brothers and sisters. These are the enduring social relationships, and you should have the capacity to derive enjoyment from them as well as to give enjoyment to other people in that relationship. Then social cohesion, society which works together for the benefit of each and every individual member, leads not only to economic prosperity but also to good health. Social connectedness. By connectedness, I don't mean only connectedness on the net, but connectedness physically. By going out, touching people, talking to people. This is intimately related to general health, because as during our evolution, we were always together, we developed together, and we learned to help each other so that we can help ourselves. What is social capital? Social capital actually is the type of network that we have, the norms which are, human rights and other norms that we develop, and social trust amongst each other, which facilitate coordination and cooperation. And what does that lead to? That leads to mutual benefit. So socially isolated people have poorer health, and socially cohesive societies are healthier with lower mortality. But tell me, if 1 out of 2 young people in our country hardly have any time for real relationships, or hardly have any time for really getting out of their room, getting out of the internet, getting out of the virtual world to look at the physical world, will we be a happy nation? Will we be a healthy nation? Will we be a healthy society? That is why I talked about mental health before I talked about the rest of the issues. So some just take home point is, these are some of the major characteristics of mental health. A sense of coherence, that everything is together, everything hangs together, everything has a reason. Optimism, that things will remain good, even if they are bad now, they will remain good, they will come back to good, and they will remain good. And at the same time, not meaningless optimism, but an acceptance of reality. Whatever is there, we do accept it, but we will work to improve it. Reliance on personal growth, that we will grow as people so that we can cope with adversity. When we are under stress, we can avoid breakdowns. We can learn different types of mechanisms to react to stressors, so that just like this balloon, the stress also just bursts and goes away. So this was the part about mental health. What is mental health? What you should try to achieve when you want to be mentally healthy, and how those principles of mental health translate into real-time practice to affect the type of behavior we have when we get hooked to the internet. How is cyber addiction affecting our mental health? That is the next part of my presentation. When you get addicted to the net, we call it behavioral addiction. Physical addictions are addictions when you take alcohol, or you take tobacco, or you take some other drug. Behavioral addiction is when you have certain behaviors which you do again and again so that you become addicted to them. As far as the internet is concerned, they include addiction to social networking sites, texting, dating apps, online gambling, pornography, and games. Just remember, 1 in 2 of our adolescents were addicted to smartphones way back in 2014. So that number must have grown exponentially by now. So what are the signs of excessive internet use? Look at these boys. They are young boys, young men, but they are all stuck to their smartphone. They are hardly aware of what is happening around them. So if you are using internet excessively, some of the signs that you and I will show for that matter are that we have trouble completing whatever our responsibilities and tasks are at home or even at work. We are always thinking of the next time when we can get onto our smartphone or on our computer and get onto the net. So we get isolated from our family and friends because we are in a virtual world all the time. Then when our families start asking us, poking us, why are you on the phone all the time? We start concealing our smartphone use. And we have to be on the phone because we have a fear of missing out. If we don't get our phone, or if we have forgotten our phone somewhere, or if our phone has discharged, then we get so worried, so anxious, or even panicky. And then suppose somebody takes away our phone. This is you are too much on the phone. Now this is the place where you cannot be on the phone. There is a social function, you have to be without the phone. We start getting withdrawal symptoms, restlessness, angry, we become irritable, we snap at people, we cannot concentrate on anything, we cannot enjoy ourselves, and if this goes on for some time, we cannot even sleep. And we actively crave to get our smartphone or any other device to be able to go onto the net again. Now in psychiatry, we have certain diagnostic systems. So the most recent diagnostic system talks about internet addiction, and we do not call everybody as addicted. Right now we were talking about excessive internet use, but what is addiction? You are addicted if you have 5 out of these 7 symptoms. First is preoccupation with internet. So you are thinking about the internet all the time. What did I see? What did I do? What message did I get? What message should I put? What Instagram image should I see? Etc. Slowly, your entire time is being spent online. So much so that you leave out important things like eating, sleeping, meeting with friends. We cannot cut back on our use. If we try to cut back, there is a huge amount of restlessness. We feel moody or depressed if we are separated from the net. We might just say, no, I'll just check out my messages for 5 minutes. It never happens for 5 minutes. So we go online much longer than originally intended. We go here, there, we go through the various sites, through our various apps. So much so that we even risk losing our jobs or our relationship, or students. I know of students who do not even miss school, who do not even care to go to school. Sorry. I know of a college student whose parents, with great difficulty, sent him to a hostel of a very premier institution. He did not go there. He sat in the hostel day and night playing his computer game. He was not eating, he was not sleeping, he was not cleaning himself. This is what can happen if there is internet addiction. And to conceal all this behavior, we like to conceal the extent of internet use or using the internet to escape our negative feelings. So what are the types of internet addictions then that we can see? You know, on the right, this infographic shows that India is the second largest smartphone user after China. This is also an old one. So now I think India is the largest smartphone user in the world. And if you think that among those smartphone users, the young users, the adolescent users, between the ages of 11 to 18 years old, if half of them are stuck, they are either excessively using the internet or they are addicted to the internet, what a loss it is to our society, what a loss it is to the family, and what a loss it is to the individual himself. So what are the types of internet addiction? Coming back to the left hand side of our slide, there is cyber sex addiction, either viewing pornography or being in online relationships, cyber relational addiction, where these relations become much more important than real ones. And kids often get into these kind of relationships, sharing, objectionable photographs or sharing their individual information, which they regret later. Then there is addiction to online gaming, which is gambling or stock trading, and people have lost fortunes in this. Compulsive debt-induced shopping, information overload. You just keep going on to Google for everything, going on to other search engines for everything, and stuffing all that, not very relevant information into your brain. Net compulsivity, you feel a compulsion, you feel a pressure to go back onto the net every time you are off it. And non-internet addiction, which is the gaming addiction, which I was talking about just now. Let's talk about Sanjay. Now Sanjay realized that he had all these issues. He had a type of internet addiction. And one of the recognized ways of combating addiction is that you go off that phone, or you switch off all the notifications. So Sanjay says, I have switched off all notifications on my phone. while it does help when I'm concentrating on something like, reading a book or maybe doing a job, my urge to check it every few minutes still doesn't go away. How can I tackle this problem? So as long as he is, distracted, he is doing something else, he doesn't think of his phone. But the minute he is a little free, he wants to check it every now and then. How can he tackle this problem? By developing his coping skills. And what are coping skills? There are two major types of coping skills. One is the thinking part and one is the doing part. So the thinking part is cognitive coping skills. When you think of a problem, you devise a solution and you plan the solution and you actually go through the solution. So in short, cognitive coping skills are things which you can tell yourself when you have a craving. And behavioral coping skills are actions you can take or things you can actually do to combat your craving. So there are four main Ds which you can undertake at any point when you get a craving. One is delay. That, Sanjay says, oh, I have to, go back. I want to check my phone. By delay, he can say, no, I won't check it just now. I'll check it after 1 minute. In that 1 minute, the craving is likely to go away. The next thing is, he can distract himself. He can talk to his mother. He can walk away. He can move and do something else, do a little cleaning, or just stand in position and march a little. That is distraction. He can take deep breaths. In our India, we will say he can do pranayama, or he can drink water. Please remember, craving does not stay forever. Cravings come and go. They stay for a short time and then they go away. So if you can remember these 4 Ds and use any of them, then you will be able to fight your craving very well. Now people will say, okay, so we look at the internet, we spend a little extra time on it. So what? Well, we get a lot of rewards. What are the rewards? Well, we get likes, we get emojis, people smile at what we say, we get congratulations, we say well done, thumbs up, and so on. We feel that we are engaging with a very large audience. When we put out a Twitter message, or we put out a photograph on Instagram, or a message on Instagram, or on the Facebook, literally the whole world can see it. So we feel very important. And when the world starts going back with, positives and likes and so on, we feel that the way we think, somebody has validated those interests. Somebody has given us shabashi about those interests. We use the internet as a security blanket. Whenever we feel upset, we feel angry, we feel anxious, we go to the internet. Just like small children will go to their doll or go to their mother. Going onto the internet, getting a like or getting a message gives an immediate dopamine high. And before me, people have spoken about this, so I won't go into details. But certain chemicals are immediately released into the brain, and that gives you a very positive feeling. We also go to the net when we are bored. So we, go onto the net and just scroll through without thinking. And then we use the internet as a means of distraction. If we are in a difficult situation, we just go to distract ourselves into the net. So these are the rewards that we get. If we recognize that these are rewards, then we can use something else to reduce these rewards. Now, these rewards do have negative consequences. What are the negative consequences? One is tolerance. So if one emoji give you a lot of happiness yesterday, today you will need 2 emojis. In the same way, you will need to be on the net for a longer time to get the same positive high. You will get withdrawal symptoms. If you are not on the net, we've already talked about this now, anxiety, irritability, distress, sleep disturbances and so on. Concentration gets lowered. My previous speakers have talked about the time. The time is not that important. What is important is, can you concentrate or not? And because of the nature of the internet, because of the way it keeps changing momentarily, our concentration gets disturbed and we lose our focus very quickly. For the same reason, we cannot think deeply or creatively. You cannot write an essay or a poem while scrolling on the internet. our sleep gets disturbed, we become self-centered, self-absorbed people. We are always thinking of ourselves only. What do I want? What do I want to see? What do I want to message? What do I want to do? We need to be also constantly alert. We are always kaan khade hote, aap khade hote to listen to our notifications or to look at our phone, and that kind of constant alertness is not something which is conducive to mental health. Humans were made to be able to distract themselves, move around a little bit, not just concentrate on one thing for one screen for a long period of time. And of course, we get distance from our real life relationship, and therefore, when stress comes, and real stress comes in every life, there is no life which is not stress free, because we are always escaping into the net, escaping into virtual reality. We find it more and more difficult to cope with stress. The simplest thing every teenager, every adolescent knows about cyberbullying and trolling. Everybody has been trolled at least once. You cannot please everybody. Therefore, the cyberbullying and trolling, posting threatening messages, your embarrassing pictures, your embarrassing rumors, these are the harmful things that happen to us and we may do to others while we are on the net, and some of them are crimes. There is also a risk of heightened exposure to pornographic material, even teaching us risky sexual behavior. There is increase in mental distress, self-harm, and even suicidality. You know that story about the blue whale. You know about the trolling, that some people were trolled so badly, bullied so badly that they stopped going to school. They started harming themselves. Some of them may have attempted self-harm as well. So these are the harms of, or the dangers of excessive internet use. You can have very concrete, dangers as well. If you share your personal details with strangers, you may be approached or kidnapped or whatever. You can also go to pornography sites, and pornography sites are illegal, so you are doing an illegal thing. You can get into risky behavior, such as sharing, frank photographs, selfies, or even your bank details, and getting disrupted into the process. Because you are in the virtual world all the time, where relationships are very shallow, very superficial, you get into social isolation, and you do not understand your emotions, others' emotions, and you stop learning how to behave in society. So your emotional and social intelligence also gets impaired. Not only that, because of brainwashing, because of following certain sites on the net, we all know about youngsters who got radicalized, who went completely on the other side of the law and suffered because of it. Not only them, but their families also. So who are the kind of people who go more into the net and who have a higher risk of excessive internet use? Unfortunately, girls, because they are more introverted, they are less into society, they go out less, they have less outdoor activities and games, they are much more likely to become more fixated on the internet. Those people who like to be anonymous, who like convenient things, who don't want to make an effort, or who want to escape from their reality. This is the ACE factor, which also goes into the becoming excessive internet use. People who are addicted to real drugs like smoking and tobacco also tend to use the internet more. People who have emotional problems, already pre-existing emotional problems like depression or anxiety or social disorders, many people just escape into the fantasy world of the internet to escape unpleasant feelings or stressful situations. Or those who have relationship problems, they are much more at risk to get into the faulty internet use. What are the protective factors? They are exactly the opposite. People who have good real life friendships, who are academically motivated, who are happy, who are ambitious, who are rooted in the real world, those who are successful at school, and those who have real life hobbies. So if I have a real life hobby, I have to play cricket every day. I'm not going to let that cricket go for my internet addiction. That is the sort of hobby that you need to develop. So let's now go to the good and bad of internet. Right now we have talked about the bad of internet. Let us now look at how we can get out of our addiction and how we can use the internet for our growth, for our mental health rather than our mental ill health. So what is the remedy? So as I was talking about Sanjay, just like Sanjay, you need to reduce the number of apps to only the essential ones. Don't clutter up your phone, don't clutter up your laptop, don't clutter up your iPad with innumerable apps, all of which you have to keep checking. Turn off all notifications. Don't sleep with the phone next to your bed. Phone is not your companion. Try to recognize triggers that make one reach for the phone. Boredom, feeling of anxiety, or feeling uncertain, feeling stressed, and tackle these feelings rather than going to the net. Set goals when one can use the smartphone. When is the time when you have free time and you can utilize that usefully to look at your phone. More important, you can turn off your phones at certain times of the day, when you are having meals with the family, when you are praying, when you are undertaking your hobby. On the right, you will find certain stress-busting behaviors, grounding, being on the ground, not in the clouds, unhooking from the net, acting on your values. So you have to develop certain values for yourself, making room for others, letting others speak, letting others have their turn, engaging with others, talking to others, and being kind. Being kind, if you do a kindness to somebody else, it will give you as good a dopamine high as getting a notification. Please remember that. Let's look at Kanchana. Kanchana says that I work in a job where I receive and reply multiple emails every hour. So she is in that IT industry. The problem is, whenever I unlock my phone and reply to the email, subconsciously afterwards I open another app like WhatsApp or Facebook or Reddit. How can I tackle this problem? Any idea? Can you think of some other way of tackling this problem? She can act, first of all, learning the trigger. She knows that when she answers her email, she has to go to other apps. So she has to undertake certain behavioral coping skills. And make a list of things you can do or actions you can undertake. But they should be very sustainable. So you should be able to do them over a period of time, and they should be very specific. They should be specific to the situation. So you are looking at your email, and the next thing you do is go and look at the WhatsApp. So there has to be a disconnect between looking for the email, which is a job, and looking for the WhatsApp, which is excessive internet use. So use some hand substitutes. Maybe what Kanchana can do is she can have a pen always in her hand, or maybe she can have a ball, worry ball, which she can press. She can distract herself. Remember the four Ds: delay, distract, deep breathing, and drink water. And maybe she can change her routine so that there is always somebody next to her who will tell her, oh, you finished your email. Okay. The minute she finishes her email, that person interrupts her and takes her into some other direction. Here are 9 ways to manage stress, and these are just 9 ways, but there are literally hundreds of ways, and you can find your own best way to manage stress. You can look at nature, you can look at beautiful things, you can imagine beautiful things in your brain, say your prayer, say a brief prayer, maybe do some yoga, or spend time with your friends, do some simple exercises, just clenching and unclenching your fist, making a proper timetable for everything, maybe practicing some art, doodling, drawing and so on, reading books, and always think positively that I can do this. That is cognitive coping skill. Here are some other remedies for internet addiction. As I said again, if bored, try to exercise or try mindfulness to relax. Be in the moment. You look around you. Be aware of your environment. Many of these things will give you just as good a high as in your internet emoji. and try to understand the difference between real life relationships versus online relationships. Online relationships will never give you that satisfaction, because real life relationships address all our senses. We can touch, we can feel, we can see, we can smell the person. So online relationship will never ever be able to substitute for real relationship. Build your coping skills. I've been telling you repeatedly how to combat stress, strengthen your support network, not just the family but others as well. And replace your smartphone with healthier physical activity. Play the phone stack game. Whenever you are together with 2 or 3 other people, take your phones and keep them in a corner and interact with each other, not with your phone. As parents, what can you do for your children? You have to be a good role model yourself. You have to stop being stuck to your phone. If you are, then children will also be stuck to them. There are also apps. Unfortunately, there are apps to monitor the apps so that your child does not spend too much time on the net. You can have phone-free zones in the house. Just like as an individual, I had advised that you should have phone-free zones. Take up some interests and activities with your child together. It may be as little as going for a walk in the evening, or going to the, to visit relatives together, or coloring a picture book together. If your child is distressed, if your child is upset, try to talk to them and find out about the other issues. And if nothing helps, then there are experts, there are counselors, there are psychiatrists, there are doctors. Don't hesitate to get help. You can get help from your family, friends, whoever it is. Do not hesitate. Now we go to the other side of the coin, how to use the internet for positive health. Well, internet has a number of useful things. You can go to lots of websites where you will learn issues about good physical and mental health. There are self-help groups online. There are videos online. There are many governments, including our own government, has excellent websites with excellent material which will help you to improve your health. You can in fact try to seek help for health promotion, that is improving your health by doing some preventive activities, as well as you can go to, if you have a disease, you can go to self-help groups and try to get their advice and their experiences which can help you. There are lots of mental health groups and mental health interventions on the web, and the web itself can help you to improve your social connectivity and broaden your vision by going to big thinkers all over the world. And of course, you can use the internet for entertainment, but it has your entertainment should be under your control, not under the smartphone's control. We can learn so many new things from the net. I know of children who have learned how to play the guitar on the net. I know of people who have learned new languages on the net. We can obtain latest information on the net, but remember, please use every side of the coin. Look at different opinions before you allow yourself to think in one way. Otherwise, you will have a danger of getting brainwashed. Many social movements, environmental health, preventing environmental pollution, the anti-firecrackers, save water, so many movements have come through the net to us. So they help us to improve our social participation, and as members of a democracy, we need to be politically aware. So these apps help us to be politically aware, and in fact even children like you can directly engage with our leaders and celebrities. You know, our Prime Minister often talks about tweets in his Man Ki Baat, and that tweet can come from a small girl somewhere far away. So you have the opportunity to engage with great leaders directly, and that's a wonderful innovation that the net has given you. But you have to balance it. They can be online friendships, but after all, they are online friendships with avatars. They are not online friendships with real people. Those are people, what you appear on the net is what you want to appear. That's not the real you. In the same way, the friends that you have on the net are not the real them. So try to balance. Try to get a real viewpoint.
Yes, absolutely, ma'am. I completely agree with you that we really have to balance our time on internet, and what we pick is entirely our choice. So we have to be mentally prepared to what are we using on internet.
Yeah, just one or two more slides.
Sure, ma'am.
So internet can facilitate our technical skills, and it can even improve our mental skills. So we can use social media for promoting mental health by connecting with friends, by developing positive relationships, by improving our social capital, our self-concept and our coping, by improving our happiness, positivity and personal growth. So we should engage with social media and use it as an outlet for expression, not just receiving. So if we become internet addicts, who is to blame? Neither the internet nor social media is to blame, but how we as users use these mediums. We need to take responsibility for our behavior on the internet and on social media and not see these as beyond our control. No, we are agents of our own destiny and we should be able to keep these things under control. Use this ACE model, not the other one. Avoid, control and escape. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. It was a wonderful conversation and we got to know so much about mental health and cyber tools. Like you said that social health and mental health are deeply related. And you also told us that behavioral addictions, what are those? And they really sounded dangerous, but then you even gave us certain solutions for that. Like we can always do yoga as one of the therapies. So, ma'am, I have got a few questions for you before wrapping up this session. These days, when everything is online, even students are studying online. So, gazing at the screen for a longer duration, does that affect a student's mental health?
Certainly, it affects it very badly, both physically as well as mentally. Because if you keep gazing, the blue light from the screens, they prevent sleep, they disturb sleep. Because you are, looking nearby all the time, there is a big strain on the eye muscles as well. Because you are leaning forward, you are not sitting comfortably, so your spine also gets quite stressed. So there is muscular stress, there is mental stress, and your sensory organs are also affected. That is why people say, even for workers in the IT industry, that every 20 minutes you should try to get up, at least move around for 20 seconds, or at least stand up and look far away.
Okay, so does that help, ma'am? And likewise,
that is supposed to help. Okay. That is supposed to help. And try to keep off the net when you are not studying.
Okay, okay. And
physical exercise and have a good hobby every time.
Okay, but ma'am, there are times when students are studying, but then eventually they go to some or the other website and some notification pops up and they go somewhere else. So is there any solution, so that their minds won't be diverted?
So that is what I meant by mindfulness. Be aware of what you are doing and remember the trigger and remember the 4 Ds. What are they? Delay, distract, deep breathing and drink water. So before you go to your studying, you are tempted to go to another website. Before you do that, get up, stand around, walk a little, take a deep breath, maybe go and drink water. By that time, your wish to go onto the other side will be gone.
All right. Okay. Ma'am, can you please describe some healthy behavior for our viewers?
Your voice was breaking.
Ma'am, can you hear me?
Yeah, say it again.
Okay. Can you please describe some healthy behavior for our viewers?
Well, there are 2 or 3 principles, 4 principles actually that WHO advocates. One is diet, a healthy, balanced diet, regular exercise, which, mind you, gives you a good long-term high. Your internet pressing the enter button will give you only a short term high. Exercise gives you a high which lasts throughout the day. Do not drink and do not smoke.
All right.
Do not use alcohol. Do not use alcohol.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. I am sure our viewers, the students, the parents, the teachers, whosoever is watching this program, they're getting all the clues from this conversation, and they're going to follow the advice you have just suggested. Thank you so much, ma'am, for being a part of this program and giving us so much information regarding mental health and cyber tools. Thank you. Thank you to all the viewers for watching this session. I hope you have found this information relevant and positive. And initially, in the beginning of the session, I told you about the quiz which we are going to reveal. So here is the website, that is ciet.nic.in. Please have a look, and if you'll type on your Google, then you'll get this page. This is the front page if you'll type ciet.nic.in. So there are so many options given. If you click on this option, events, the second last option would be workshop/training. Please click on it so that we'll take you further with these trainings we conduct for all of you. Here, if you scroll it down, the current activity is our program titled Mental and Emotional Wellbeing in the Era of Cyberspace, which started on 6th of April, like I've already mentioned. This started on Cyber Jagrukta Divas, and this is the series, and this is the title of the series. This is everything about the series which we started on 6th of April, and we are wrapping it up on this day, that is 22nd of April. And these are the details. If you want to watch the videos, these are the links given. And if you have yet not participated, please participate, scan this QR code or click on this link and be a participant here. And these are the ways through which you can watch our programs. The TV channels are mentioned, and this is the post-session quiz. If you click on the quiz, you will get 3 attempts at the quiz, and if you score 70% and above in this quiz, you will get the certificate for it, which you can easily download. And if you want to submit your feedback, then this is the particular link. And yes, for all those queries you have in your mind, cybersafety@ciet.nic.in is our email ID. So I'll repeat once again, this is the quiz, and participants are allowed to take 3 attempts at this quiz, and if you score 70% and above, you will get the certificate which you can easily download. So this is everything about our webinar series of cyber safety and security, and today we discussed the topic mental health and cyber tools. I'll show you once again that this is the website ciet.nic.in, where all the videos are available related to this theme which we conducted, mental and emotional well-being in the era of cyberspace. So here we are wrapping up, and all the very best for this quiz. Stay here, don't go anywhere. We're wrapping up this program, but we're coming up with another special program of ours, that is Sayog, and the title of discussion would be self-management. Stay focused on your goal. Keep your questions ready. Thank you so much. Take care. Namaskar.